All right, my beautiful, 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 beautiful mer people, my mermaids, my sirens. I'm doing this video for you guys because when I posted my incarnated elemental fae video on my Facebook page, I noticed I had a decent amount of sirens on my page. You guys just came flooding in like the mermaids you are. Um, and so I was like, let me do after speaking with you, I was like, let me do a video on the mer people. And I think I kind of have like kind of some of that energy too. It may just be like be an incarnated elemental thing in general, but we're passionate people. But yeah, so here we go, guys. For those who have watched my Faye video, I'm going to be repeating a few things you probably already heard, but that's because everybody may not watch the Faye video, so they may not know what an incarnated elemental is. So I'm going to be repeating some of the same things, but the focus of this in particular is the elemental mer people, elemental mermaids, elemental sirens. What are incarnated elementals? So, before I get started, I'm gonna put a trigger warning out there. If you take issue with sexuality and things of that nature, if it makes you uncomfortable, that is going to be in this video. So, just letting you know, you may not want to, watch it or just be, you know, on the alert because I'm going to be speaking on some things because sirens, the mer people are very sensual people. And so I'm going to be touching on that. So anyway, let me get into the video. What are incarnated elementals? Souls born into human bodies that came from another earth realm. So like I touched on the fays in the other one, now I'm touching on the sirens. The mer people, they come from the water realm. So earth realms are on a much higher vibration than the human 3D realm, and those who can incarnate as humans are on an even higher vibration. And incarnated elementals are associated with either of the four elements, earth, air, fire, or water. And they incarnate into human form to teach humanity. Characteristics of incarnated elementals. They revere nature, they may be environmentalists, animists, pagans. They're spiritual, so they see the deeper side of things, are connected to unseen entities because they do come from realms that, people may not be able to, a lot of people can't see with their physical eyes. They're rebellious, move to the beat of their own drum, not easily controlled. Free spirits, which can look like carelessness to humans. They're outcasts. They're artists. May be unhappy due to the condition of Mother Earth. And they are paranoid of humans just because of what humans have been doing for the past, I don't know how many years, thousands of years. Okay. Highly sensitive. So they may have mood swings because of this. Passionate about their mission and their care for others. Loyal. They're very loyal, but when betrayed or harmed, will cut people off quickly. In relationships, they can hurt those who love them unintentionally due to having different needs than humans. They love deeply but do not get attached. When choosing to commit, it is with a life partner. Incarnated elementals, we have very strong energy. We're wild. A lot of us are not necessarily the best in financial matters. We tend to splurge, and it's because we don't think of things in the same way as people in this room do. And that can be a good and a bad thing, but it's just like we don't think of it in the same way as humans. And may have drug addictions. I'm going to get into that later when I speak on the mental health aspect of being an incarnated elemental. What is an incarnated mermaid? Spirit of a mer person, a mermaid that has incarnated into a human body. Not all are bad, nor all good, just like with humans. Um, I say that because I do see I've seen actually a lot of um, just information pertaining to merpeople and particularly like mermaids, because I don't really see a lot in regards to mermen, but I have seen a lot of negativity, to be honest. So, this is the image of Quintessence, and she's a professional mermaid, and I found her on sheroseNtertainment.com. So, yeah, that may be something that you incarnated sirens may want to get into, if not professionally, maybe just do it to, calm yourself and to get back into get closer to that past life of yours. Okay, characteristics of incarnated merpeople. Long to be in or near water. You miss your fins or wish you had fins. You know you're different from others. You feel like an outcast. You have a disgust or contempt towards humans. This is because of the war that humans have pretty much waged on, you know, the water, the bodies of water, the ocean, the rivers, just waters everywhere. You may feel called to return to the waters. You don't really get attached when in intimate relationships. Uh, I think there are some who may, but that's just my opinion. I've seen this. Like I've read information that says you don't get attached when in intimate relationships, but I honestly think that I've seen incarnated mermaids that do get attached. And I think that happens when they do not know who they are. I think that more so happens when they don't know who they are. Like they don't know, like, hey, I'm an incarnated mermaid. Um, and they're just like trying to find themselves and things of that nature. I feel like that's when they get really like clingy and attached to people. Anyway, very emotional and also creative. So, in the Passamaquoddy tribe in northeastern America, I don't know if I pronounced that name of that tribe right. The mermaids are called the Newas, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. So I'm gonna read you guys the story of the Newas. A long time ago there was an Indian with his wife and two daughters. They lived by a great lake or the sea, and the mother told her girls never to go into the water there, for if they did, something would happen to them. They, however, deceived her repeatedly. When swimming is prohibited, it becomes delightful. The shore of this lake stands away out or slopes to an island. One day they went to it, leaving their clothes on the beach. The parents missed them. The father went to seek them. He saw them swimming far out and called to them. The girls swam up to the sand, but could get no further. Their father asked them why they could not. They cried that they had grown to be so heavy that it was impossible. They were all slimy. They grew to be snakes from below the waist. After sinking a few times in this strange slime, they became very handsome with long black hair and large, bright black eyes with silver bands on their neck and arms. When their father went to get their clothes, they began to sing in the most exquisite tones. "Leave them there! Do not touch them! Leave them there!" Hearing this, their mother began to weep, but the girls kept on. "It is all our own fault, but do not blame us. It will be none the worse for you. When you go in your canoe, then you need not paddle. We shall carry it along." And so it was. When their parents went in the canoe, the girls carried it safely on everywhere. One day, some Indians saw the girls' clothes on the beach and so looked out for the wearers. They found them in the water and pursued them and tried to capture them, but they were so slimy that it was impossible to take them, till one, catching hold of a mermaid by her long black hair, cut it off. Then the girl began to rock the canoe and threatened to upset it unless her hair was given to her again. The fellow who had played the trick at first refused, but as the mermaids or snake maids promised that they should all be drowned, Unless this was done, the locks were restored. And the next day they were heard singing and were seen, and on her who had lost her hair it was all growing as long as ever. So that is the story of the Newas in the Passamaquoddy tribe. Okay, so in Haitian Vodou folklore, the mermaid is called La Sirène. And I don't know if I pronounced that right either. But anyway, Christopher Columbus mentioned seeing this mermaid when near the island of Haiti. So I thought that was important to note as well. A recurring theme in narratives about La Sirène is that people are unable to speak after interacting with her. The loss of words suggests an experience called symbolic order. Symbolic order is a state where one understands the world in metonymic terms, just out of reach of consciousness. Language dilutes the potency of symbolic order. Um, Let me stop right there because people may not know what metonymic means. And what that means is basically the way in which you describe something is not exactly as what it is, but as something that is associated with it. So it's like, for instance, among, the so-called black population in America, right? The indigenous people in America. They may say, or back in the day, I don't think people say this now, but like maybe 90s times, for the house, they would say the crib. I'm going to go to the crib. So like obviously a crib is in a house if you have children, but you're not saying I'm going to go, to the house. So just a very poetic, really a very poetic way of talking and communicating, really. But that's what metonymic means. So symbolic order is a state where one understands the world in metonymic terms, just out of reach of consciousness. Language dilutes the potency of symbolic order. La Sirène makes the order accessible by allowing for deep introspection. She is the vehicle to experience the total revelation of the tripartite nature of self, the discovery of the center of the self, and its unbroken wholeness with the universal soul. So this was in See Secret Rising, the Lua La Sirène in Haitian Voodoo by Ursula Zales in the Journal of Haitian Studies, Volume 17, Number 1. I think that was in the late 80s or early 90s. So in West African Voodoo, there is Mamiwata. Mamiwata is a pantheon of ancient water deities. The Mamiwata priesthood is overwhelmingly matriarchal. That's from African Goddess Reawakens in the Soul of the Diaspora by Mama Zogby. Mermaid portrayal in media. So the old folk tales have made their way into entertainment because they hold truth. Creatures from other earth realms are still here, and the plight of these elementals needs to be known. There's a Disney show called So Weird. I love that show. Um, it's an older show, but they have an episode called Siren, and it's about a woman who, excuse me, it's about a woman who she is, whew, she is a mermaid, but she comes to the land. I can't remember how she got here, but how she got on the land, but she's actually a musician, and her manager knows that she is a siren and uses that knowledge to control her and to take advantage of her talent. So, um, she's basically performing her music. She captivates the audience, like particularly the males. The males are captivated by her. Um, like they're in a trance when they listen to her music. So yeah, you could watch So Weird on Disney Plus. Disney Plus is an app, and I was actually so glad to find out that they had like some of the older shows on there. So yeah. There's a show called Sirens that came out in 2018, but it was canceled after 3 seasons. But it says mermaid legends come to life. The battle between man and sea takes a vicious turn. So this is that ancient battle that the merpeople have been warring against the humans, um, because of the humans destroying the earth. Right? They're doing so much to the ocean. Um, So yeah, and we can see that with the mukbangs, like seafood mukbangs are really big for whatever reason, and you just have people eating these like sea creatures just for entertainment. Like these people aren't even hungry; it's just greed, you know. It's and it's abuse of uh, resources and abuse of other creatures because they're not showing respect for life by doing those things, and they're not showing respect for our marine life. So, but the show involved sirens who are in polyamorous unions. That speaks to the like openness of the siren when it comes to just like sexuality and things of that nature. So, here is a siren scene from the movie "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?" So I'm gonna play it here. So as you can see, they're in the water. You know, they're bathing. The men come across them and find them. They're captivated by them. So, yeah, that's that siren energy right there. So, there's a film called Sirens that came out in 1994. Um, it says when a painting is deemed blasphemous, a young minister and his wife visit the artist and the three sexually playful models living with him. Upon their arrival, the young couple become drawn into the seductive world of the Lindsay family and their provocative models. The models captivate the very proper Estella and lead her on a journey of sexual awakening. So, Estella is the wife of the minister. And so, they're all Christian and whatever, and they're coming to talk to this artist about his non-Christian art, right? But his models are very just open and just free women, They're free-spirited women. And so they're sirens in human form, basically. And they're incarnated, mermaids. And so here's a scene that speaks to Estella. Um, when she's first beginning her like sexual awakening and awakening into her womanhood outside of, just these Christian ideals that are promoted. So, So in this scene, we see, um, the women feeling on, touching on the other woman. And then at the end of this scene, her, Estella's husband, he's looking for her and he sees her and he, um, just peeks and then he leaves. Um, and I think this speaks to the fact that, sirens are, sexual beings and, um, them. And I think that just to when it comes to women and their sexuality and things of that nature, I do think that women could help other women, um, to grow in that aspect just because there's not, or at least there shouldn't be, a dominating type of energy like where you're being conquered, but more so of where you're, coming into yourself and who you are as a woman and things of that nature. And I think that women can definitely learn from each other, um, as far as that goes. Not necessarily that you got to have sex with each other, but just having an open, space to express yourself. I think, women need more spaces like that. So this was a scene of them basically, like when they saw her, the girl was like, come over here. And, um, basically, just saying, hey, like she knows that the woman is, she's the wife of a minister. She knows the woman is like repressed in many ways, especially sexually repressed. And so the fact that, she's open to that, and she's like wowed by it, and wowed by, just women being that free with themselves, um, they allowed her the opportunity to express herself in that way and to explore, sensuality in that way. And so that's a thing that I do like about that scene. So we have Carmen, a hip opera. I know y'all, some of y'all may laugh because it wasn't the best film, but I actually liked this film when it came out. But anyway, so based on Bizet's classic opera and musical counterpart Carmen Jones, Carmen, a hip opera, is a modern retelling of the story of the tragic gypsy Carmen. This time, Carmen Brown is an aspiring actress who, in her own words, leaves the whole town speechless. Her sultry looks and carefree confidence attract the attention of everyone from a crooked cop to famous rapper Blaze. However, Carmen has eyes on the one man she can't have, Sergeant Derek Hill, who is engaged. Yet nothing stops Carmen, getting what she wants, except perhaps a trip to LA and an ominous tarot card prophecy. So there's that. Here's the scene from Carmen. Again, this is the portrayal in human form. This is the incarnated, mermaid portrayal. Celebrity Elemental Mermaid, Beyonce, hands down. I didn't share any other celebrity. She was the main one that popped into my head. She is definitely a siren. Um, she captivates many with her song. She has people worshiping her, like straight up religion worshiping her. Okay. she feels trapped by her gift. There was a video, I don't know if you guys saw it, but there was a video she made and she was like, why did God give me this gift? And she was like, I know that I'm not supposed to question God. And she was crying in the video and she was like, I'm living the dream. But she was saying that as like, it to her is not a dream, but to everybody else it is. And so this goes back to like that trauma from the past life where like sailors were like capturing these sirens, um, during that war with the Merpeople. And I do think that's one reason why Merpeople have incarnated into human form, is to advocate on behalf of the ocean and the marine life, but also because so many of them were being killed and are by the behaviors of humans. So, yes. She has water in so many of her music videos, guys. Like, so many of her music videos have water in them. There's Crazy in Love, there's Baby Boy, there's Formation, there's Drunk in Love, there's the entire Lemonade visual album. There's Water from her recent Black is King visual album. The song is titled Water. Like, she is a siren. And I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just like it's obvious that she is. This is an image from the video Water. This is an image from the video Upgrade You. So in this one, she was rising up out of the water. This is from Hold Up, when she opened the door and the water burst out and everybody was like, Ocean, because she was in yellow. And this is her in Crazy in Love. This is like her first like solo video as a solo artist, I think. And this is the scene where she kicks the top off of the fire hydrant and then the water just started bursting out everywhere, which that scene in itself was a very sexual scene because the fire hydrant is shaped like a phallus, right? And she's kicking it off and then the water just spurts out. So, yeah. Okay, so real life sightings of merpeople. I came across some stories of people having like real life sightings in the past 100 years. So this is a photo, and I think it's of the Key Islands. I think that's how you pronounce it. Japanese soldiers stationed on the Key Islands in Indonesia had multiple encounters with mermaids in 1943. The villagers called these creatures orang ikan. In Malay, orang means human and ikan means fish. The soldiers had some interesting stories to share about these creatures while on patrol. Sergeant Taro Horiba, who was stationed at the time on the Key Islands, instructed the village chief to inform him immediately if any orangutan were captured. That day came, and Sergeant Horiba laid eyes on what he describes as roughly 4 foot 9 inches, pinkish skin, human-looking face and limbs, spikes along its head, and a mouth like a carp. Sergeant Taro Horiba tried to get the scientific community involved to validate the sightings, but nothing ever happened. And this one I'm going to read is from a 1967 British Columbia. It happened in British Columbia in Canada. A group of tourists on a ferry in Canada reported this sighting. They claimed to see a mermaid with silver blonde hair. She was eating a salmon and seemed to enjoy the waves crashing over her tail. The local city offered a $25,000 reward for the mermaid, but no one came forward. There were some who saw the mermaid and swore she was real, but others thought it was a hoax. Okay, and this is an even more recent one. This was in 1998 at Kaiwi Point in Hawaii. Jeff Lakeshire, a diver who operates the Jack's Diving Locker off Kaiwi Point, said, I feel very lucky that I'm the one to finally prove to the world what people here have known for half a century. He claims that the Kaiwi Point mermaid is real. While diving off the coast, he reported being in the water and hearing the 10 people in the boat screaming and pointing. Looking over, he thought he saw a strange woman swimming. He saw her leap into the air and discovered the lower half of her body was a fish. Later on, he was taking photos of underwater life and felt the water moving above him. Looking up, he took a picture of the mermaid for proof. And then we have one in 2012 in Zimbabwe. Apparently, some mermaids just want to be left alone. In 2012, workers were building a dam in Zimbabwe. However, a pesky mermaid spooked the workers and they refused to finish the project. Water Resources Minister Sam Nkomo told the Senate committee that the village chiefs were going to perform rituals to get rid of the mermaid, but the workers still refused to go back. Eventually, foreign workers flew in to finish the project, but to their dismay, the workers had the same experience. They also refused to finish the project. To this day, the dam remains unfinished. So in some countries, people have a respect for other life forms. Clearly, the people in Zimbabwe have a respect and they know that these creatures actually exist. And so they're like, I'm not finishing that dam. They're like, nah, fuck that. So that's good. Good for them. And good for the sirens. So signs are more that point to merpeople, seashells. If you come across people who like wear them a lot, I would suspect that that person is an incarnated mermaid. People who love the waters more than the average person. Floods, like hella floods. There's been a lot of flooding, just in the past few years. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention, but it's been a lot of flooding. And some people can chalk it up to, oh, well, global warming is happening and the ice caps are melting and it's causing blah, blah, blah. But at the end of the day, I'm not saying that that is wrong. But at the end of the day, there's other life forms that are on this planet too that have an effect on what's going on as well. And that's the thing. Like, we have to stop being just thinking like, just this European, like linear thinking. Like, it's not the best way to think. You don't really see and get to fully understand things because that's not what linear thinking involves. So you have to think of things as like I said, multiple realms. There's multiple realms that are, and I can't explain this in any better way, and I do apologize for that, but there's multiple realms of existence. There's multiple realms on the planet Earth. And all of them are impacted by the others, and they're interacting with each other, whether we know it or not. So that's just what I want to say. But this article, Arizona had a deadly flash flood. Arizona has had floods, and I was so surprised because Arizona is just a dry area. So when I heard about Arizona flooding a few years ago, I was like any flood in Arizona, I'm like, what? Like, what is this? I knew something was up. But what they've done in Arizona, the humans, is that they have brought in the past, they brought in a bunch of foreign species, like of animal life that did not belong there, that did not naturally occur in Arizona. They were not indigenous to that area at all. And so what happened is it ended up destroying a lot of the plant and animal life in that area. And so that's why Arizona looks the way it does now. So this is all human stuff. People say, "Oh, it's a desert. Oh, it's this. This. Oh, this place is this, and oh, this place is that." And oh, it's not naturally that way. These places become basically just like places with hardly anything, just drained of their resources because of human behaviors. So, anyway, back to this article about the floods. It says there's been an increase in high tide flooding along the Atlantic and Gulf Coast since 2000. It's been extraordinary. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration reported, with the frequency of flooding in some cities growing fivefold during that time. That shift is damaging homes, imperiling the safety of drinking water, inundating roads, and otherwise hurting coastal communities. Well, see, here's the thing. Because indigenous peoples would move around. We wouldn't just stay in one area and drain the shit out of the resources in that area. We would move to another area. Then once that area that we were previously in was able to, get its resources and stuff back up, then we may go back. But see, when you're living under colonialism, you got to take out a 30-year mortgage on your fucking house. And, you know, um, so you're staying there, you're doing all this, you're buying all this. It's just like, it's this way, like they come up with so many ways. These humans come up with so many different ways to keep people stuck. And it's not supposed to be like that. You're not supposed to be stuck. Just like stuck in one place, like, anyway, okay, I'm done kind of ranting because I'm pretty sure y'all are probably getting tired of it, but it says conditions are changing and not just in one place, not just in a few locations. Damaging floods that happened decades ago only during a storm now happen more regularly even without severe weather. So these things are happening and it's in response. The merpeople are pissed off about it. The marine life, they're pissed. You can't continue to do what you're doing and expect to just live a peaceful life. You're not going to do it. You can't think that you're just going to affect one life form without affecting the others. Because everybody on this planet is connected in one way or another. Every living being, all the realms. Okay, so more signs that point to merpeople. Swirls and spirals. Now, I know I said this in the Fae video. Spirit was pulled me to say that in the Fae video. But swirls are definitely representative of like whirlpools, water. So I have the Taino swirl symbol in the bottom right, and that's actually found on stones in like Haiti/DR. They're on the same island, so that's actually found on stones like near like caves, and these caves you go in with water and things of that nature. So yeah. Dolphins, manatee, fish, whales. These are all marine cousins of merpeople. The manatee was said to be, and I believe this was among the Taino people, the manatee was said to be related to the mermaid. So, like I said, cousins of the mermaids. So, incidents with merpeople. So here we have the outrage over over Halle Bailey playing the Little Mermaid. So that film is coming soon. Um, so you had the so-called Caucasian people that were upset because she didn't look exactly like Ariel because she has brown skin. But what I saw was a lot of the incarnated sirens that were brown skinned people. They came to her defense. Like, it was so many articles written about just how we have known in many of our people's mythology that these creatures genuinely do exist. And I really liked seeing that. I thought it was great that people were putting the information out, like, hello, within our cultures, there are stories of merpeople. These creatures exist. So I thought that was great. Yeah. Incidents with merpeople. The Great Sea Island Storm in 1893 in South Carolina. It is said that, like, the local people say that someone trapped a mermaid, and that's why it was, that came and killed many people. I'm going to see if I can find a good excerpt from this article that speaks of it. It said Pauline, this is a woman in South Carolina, blamed Dr. Ward and the blue-tailed mermaid for the hurricane of 1893. Dr. Ward had trapped the mermaid somewhere in the tangle of inlets and marshes along the coast and locked her up. The mermaid's anger and sorrow conjured rain for 30 days before the hurricane struck sea and earth with winds over 120 miles per hour and a storm surge at least 12 feet deep. on the night of August 27, 1893. The South Carolina and Georgia Low Country, a coastal strip of low-lying islands separated from the mainland by wide marshes and tidal rivers, bore the brunt of the storm's ferocity. Though its path was enormous, a churning storm between 800 and 1,000 miles wide. The town of Beaufort, South Carolina, and its environs suffered the worst damage. Bodies rafted like dead cordgrass in the marshes. Wells overflow with saline floodwater, even as malaria-bearing mosquitoes bred by thousands in the pools of rainwater pitting scored fields and gutted homes. Um, yeah, it said that to dismiss Pauline's story as superstition or a quaint yarn, similar to one of Joel Chandler Harris's Brer Rabbit folktales, does Pauline's own local knowledge a disservice. Behind this hurricane origin story is quiet resistance to an old system of white supremacy and oppression that, with the emergence of Jim Crow segregation and violence, was finding new expressions in the late 19th and early 20th centuries. This seemingly fanciful origin story seethes with tension and a fraught history. Says today, people usually do not blame mythical creatures for hurricanes. So again, it's in this article you finally see the denying of that these creatures exist. These creatures really exist. So yeah. It says many early European colonizers in the Americas saw hurricanes as divine retribution for sin, and Caribs of the Lesser Antilles blamed the devastating storms on evil spirits. So yes, and that's the link to that article is right there if you want to type that in and check that out. And this is from 1893. So yeah. All right. Young people of color around the world are reclaiming myths and folklore as real and valid. People are unapologetic about the superpowers they possess. They are reclaiming their rightful titles, and by claiming such, they're able to live their daily lives in the likeness and lightness of these fantastical beings. My avatar, my personal affirmation is Mami Wata. I am reminding myself to be like the water, flowing with the tide and shifting into my original form. So that's a quote by Atisha Brown. In her article titled Black Mermaids Are Real at letthemflourish.com. And this is a artwork called Spirit of the Bahamas by Julian Smith. So there's that. And then here's some books about mermaids. There's Suki and the Mermaid by Robert D. Dan Soucy, and then there's Mary Bell and the Mermaid. It's found within the book called Her Stories, which is a book on Afro-American folk tales. So this is a list of, if you want, like Black Mermaid books and things of that nature. And there's a list for you. So, are you an incarnated merperson? Outside of the signs shared earlier, if you may dress very feminine. You may care a lot about the ocean and ocean life, marine life, and you may tend to need a lot of alone time. So those are other signs that you are an incarnated merperson, because it's just like being around humans. It gets exhausting. And that's something that I think all incarnated elementals have in common. Okay, so merpeople and mental health. So it's difficult to be happy and thrive when you're not in or near your original, natural environment. So this can lead to things like depression, anxiety, substance abuse. Um, and for that reason, it's important to live near natural water sources. If you cannot, then take frequent trips to lakes, rivers, or oceans, or the beach. If you're living in an urban area, find a swimming pool, go to swimming pools, maybe live in an apartment complex that has a swimming pool in it, or maybe like a rec center around something. Yeah, so also create. Incorporate water into your personal rituals, your baths, bath cleansings, you know, just make a conscious effort to incorporate water and the meanings tied to that into your daily rituals, or create daily rituals if you don't have any. You more than likely do. I think everybody does. If you go to work, that's a ritual. You do it every day or however long. So, anyway, get involved in causes to protect marine environments and bodies of water in general. That's something that can help you feel better. Drink lots of water. Find other incarnated merpeople. And like I said, make time for yourself. If you're constantly around a lot of people and you are a incarnated mermaid, you're going to feel extremely drained. Extremely drained. You literally have got to cleanse yourself of those energies. And I'm not an incarnated mermaid, but that, I believe, is a trait, like I said, of all incarnated elementals. Like, I'm incarnated fae, and for me, being around a lot of people is just like, oh my God, like, it's a lot. Energy wise, it's a lot. So, yeah. Okay, so that's basically it. That's the end of that. So check out my shops, Attic Indigo, Clothing with a Message, my shoe line, Kaona, in the links in the description box below. And let me know what you think of this video. Let me know if you are an incarnated siren or not. And let me know what you think. Is there any more information about incarnated sirens that you would like to share? Comment that in the description box. And yeah, have a good night, everyone. Bye-bye.